Welcome to Movies Philosophy Channel. In this episode, we explore the hunt for Red October, 1990. Directed by John McTiernan and based on the novel by Tom Clancy. This thrilling Cold War-era film blends political intrigue, military strategy, and edge-of-your-seat suspense as it follows a Soviet submarine captain's bold defection and the high-stakes chase that ensues. Starring Sean Connery as Captain Marko Ramius and Alec Baldwin as CIA analyst Jack Ryan. The film explores themes of trust, loyalty, and the fine line between diplomacy and disaster. Let's break down the key moments and underlying themes that make this film a classic of the thriller genre. The Cold War setting and political intrigue. Set during the height of the Cold War in 1984, the film plunges viewers into the world of military tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. The titular Red October is a top-secret Soviet nuclear submarine, equipped with a caterpillar drive that renders it virtually undetectable to sonar. This advanced technology makes the Red October an unprecedented threat to global security, as it could strike undetected at any moment. The film begins with Captain Marko Ramius, played by Sean Connery, a veteran Soviet submarine commander, taking command of the Red October for its maiden voyage. Unbeknownst to his superiors, Ramius has decided to defect to the West, believing that the submarine's power poses a grave danger in the hands of the Soviet regime. He informs his officers of his plan, and with their support, they set a course for the United States, intending to surrender the submarine. The defection of a high-ranking Soviet officer aboard a state-of-the-art submarine creates a whirlwind of political intrigue, as both the Soviets and the Americans scramble to determine Ramius's true intentions. This leads to a tense and complex game of cat and mouse, with the possibility of nuclear war hanging in the balance. Sean Connery's commanding presence as Marko Ramius. One of the standout elements of the film is Sean Connery's portrayal of Marko Ramius. Connery's performance is defined by his quiet intensity and gravitas. Ramius is a man of deep conviction, driven by a moral imperative to prevent the Red October from becoming a tool of war. However, his motivations are not revealed all at once, adding to the film's tension as the audience tries to decipher whether Ramius is a hero or a villain. Ramius's defection is complicated by his own internal conflict. As a loyal servant of the Soviet Navy for decades, he struggles with the knowledge that his actions will be seen as treason. Connery's portrayal captures this complexity, showing Ramius as a man torn between duty to his country and his conscience. Alec Baldwin as Jack Ryan, the reluctant hero. Alec Baldwin's portrayal of Jack Ryan, the CIA analyst who believes that Ramius intends to defect rather than launch a nuclear attack, is another key component of the film's success. Ryan is not the typical action hero, but rather a scholar with a deep understanding of military strategy and the personalities involved. His belief in Ramius's motives, despite skepticism from his superiors, sets the stage for the film's central conflict. Ryan is thrust into the heart of the action when he is sent to meet with the U.S. Navy to convince them of Ramius's intentions. Baldwin's portrayal emphasizes Ryan's intelligence, resourcefulness, and determination. He is not a man of action, but rather a man of ideas, and his ability to think critically under pressure is what ultimately drives the plot forward. Tension and suspense. A game of cat and mouse. One of the film's greatest strengths is its ability to maintain a high level of tension throughout. The cat and mouse game between the Red October, the Soviet fleet, and the American Navy is expertly paced, with each move and countermove raising the stakes higher. The film's action sequences, particularly the submarine chases and the near-miss torpedo attacks, are filled with suspense, keeping the audience on edge as the Red October's fate hangs in the balance. The use of underwater sound and sonar as a central plot device enhances the tension. The eerie silence of the ocean, punctuated by the sonar pings, creates an almost claustrophobic atmosphere. The fact that both sides are blind to each other's exact locations for much of the film adds to the suspense, as even the smallest mistake could lead to disaster. Themes of trust and diplomacy. At its core, The Hunt for Red October is a film about trust between individuals, trust in one's convictions, and trust between nations. Jack Ryan's belief in Ramius's intention to defect is a leap of faith, one that could either avert disaster or trigger a catastrophic war. The film explores how fragile trust can be, particularly in the world of international diplomacy, where one wrong move could lead to annihilation. Ramius's decision to defect also highlights the theme of loyalty. His actions, though treasonous by Soviet standards, are driven by a higher loyalty to humanity and the desire to prevent nuclear conflict. The tension between loyalty to one's country and the moral responsibility to prevent violence is a key philosophical underpinning of the film. The film also touches on the broader theme of diplomacy versus force. While both the Soviet and American military forces prepare for confrontation, Ryan's efforts to broker a peaceful solution demonstrate that diplomacy and understanding can be more powerful than military might. This theme resonates with the political climate of the Cold War, where the threat of mutually assured destruction loomed over every decision made by the world's superpowers. Visuals, direction, and technical mastery. John McTiernan, best known for his work on Die Hard, brings his expert direction to the hunt for Red October, creating a film that is visually striking despite much of the action taking place underwater. The submarines, both Soviet and American, are brought to life with meticulous detail, and the film's use of special effects, particularly the depiction of the submarines gliding silently through the depths, is impressive, even by today's standards. The film's production design is also notable, with the interiors of the submarines feeling cramped and oppressive, adding to the sense of tension. The red and blue lighting inside the submarines creates a visual distinction between the American and Soviet vessels, heightening the contrast between the two sides. The pacing of the film is masterfully handled, with moments of intense action interspersed with quieter scenes of strategy and dialogue. McTiernan's ability to balance these elements keeps the audience engaged throughout the film's 2-hour-plus runtime. The final confrontation and resolution. The film builds to a dramatic climax as the Red October nears American waters, with the Soviet fleet in hot pursuit. In a daring maneuver, Ryan and the U.S. Navy collaborate with Ramius to fake the destruction of the Red October, allowing Ramius and his crew to defect to the United States. The final confrontation between Ramius and a Soviet saboteur aboard the Red October is tense and action-packed, with Ryan playing a pivotal role in saving the submarine. The resolution of the film is both satisfying and thought-provoking. Ramius's successful defection is a victory for diplomacy and trust, but the film leaves the audience with lingering questions about the nature of loyalty and the fragile peace between nations. Closing thought. The Hunt for Red October, 1990, is a masterclass in suspense, strategy, and character-driven storytelling. It seamlessly blends political intrigue with thrilling action, all while exploring deeper themes of trust, loyalty, and the high-stakes consequences of Cold War diplomacy. With standout performances from Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin, and expert direction from John McTiernan, the film remains one of the most compelling and sophisticated thrillers in cinematic history. Its portrayal of the moral and ethical dilemmas faced by individuals in positions of power makes it as relevant today as it was during the Cold War.